here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you, me, is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. Let the water wash away your tears. Let the fire burn away your fears. Let the wind blow into your life such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, and nurture you. Oh, the power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you, me, is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you, me, is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. The power of love is here now. The power of now is here now. The power of you and me is here to create magic on earth. Let the water wash away your tears. Let the fire burn away your fears. Let the wind blow into your life such faith and trust. Oh, let the earth hold you, take care of you, nurture you.
Hey. All right. Well, welcome back. What we're going to do now is turn from that little break being the space between Torah portions, where we, like in the first part, the idea was we saw what God showed Moshe. We sat in that space between Torah portions. And now to close out, we're going to pick up with the second part of the text sheet with what now God goes on to say once Moshe's seen what will happen to the Egyptians. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'll ask a volunteer to read out like the fullness of what God says. And then we're going to, because it's small, we'll just do it here. And we're going to talk about what this means for us today. So without further ado, share screen. This is the part where the hope comes back in. So thank you for bearing with the downer part of it. Okay, so I'll read the first part once more. And the Lord said to Moshe, you shall soon or now see what I will do to Pharaoh. He shall let them go because of a greater might. Indeed, because of a greater might, he shall drive them from his land. Thank you, River 2, for reading that so beautifully. Will somebody now take us through what comes next, the beginning of the second Torah portion of Exodus, Parshat Vayera?
Do you want me to do it again, or?
You know what? Absolutely.
Oh, Matthew's volunteering.
Absolutely.
Matthew's volunteering. Okay, are you sure? Matthew, do you want to do it? You were raising your hand. Me? Okay. So I start at number 3.
Why don't you take it from 2? Why don't you take it from 2 again, all the way through?
And I'll just all the way, everything on the page.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about my lisp and poor dictation, whatever. God spoke to Moshe and said to him, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at El Shaddai, but I did not make myself known to them by my name. I'm going to say Yahweh, whatever. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land to which they lived as sojourners. I have now heard the moaning of the Israelites because the Egyptians are holding them in bondage, and I have remembered my covenant. Say, therefore, to the Israelite people, I am the Lord. I will free you from the labors of the Egyptians and deliver you from their bondage. I will redeem you with an outreached arm and through extraordinary chastisement. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. And I will take you to my people, and I will be your God. And you shall know that I, the Lord, am your God who freed you from the labors of the Egyptians. I will bring you into the land which I swore to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and I will give it to you for a possession. I, the Lord.
Awesome. Well read. Thank you for that stirring invocation. So, this is the part where I want to just open it up to we've gotten bits of, we'll learn to plant, we'll shift where we plant seeds. Roy talked about get ready for the wandering. Here, God spells it out. I will take you, I will redeem you, I will bring you to the land. So the question is, after the systems collapse, after the wandering, after the rebuilding, what does the world look like? What does life look like?
Do you want us to write this in the chat or talk or?
Oh, thank you. Just talk, throw it out.
So it's more sparse, but it's happier. It's how after the first kind of semi-lockdown, when people started coming out of their houses again, it's a little bit like that, only we're not masked and we're a little more joyous. and we hug a
brutish and short.
Did brutish and short?
Nasty, brutish, and short. That's what life. That's my guess of what life will look like after systems.
That's life. That's the promised land.
I mean, I don't know if that's the promised land, but I don't know if I necessarily see a happier existence on the other, for human beings on the other side of worst case scenario climate crisis.
I'm reminded how after they crossed over the sea, that in their leaving and their rush, and they didn't bring so many things, but they still brought the musical instruments, and they would play music and sing and dance. And I think, that kind of creativity, that whole Torah portion actually always reminds me of that one I can't even remember it. It's like a song by like Lord Ella Maria like O'Connor, and goes by the name Lord, and she talks about how like she doesn't have anything, but if she has her music, she's okay. Like all she has is her instruments left. And you know, these people were wandering the desert and for many years, but they had that, and that kind of goes back to like those very core like creative things and how healing it can be to be creative. And you can get through having a lot less, you know, what people think about as being like necessity to live on. I find that if you're able to be creative and use artistry and stuff, you need a lot less of what a lot of people think is necessary, if that makes sense. You can live in a lot less comfort and luxury and a lot more poverty. And, you know, some of my happiest, most fulfilling creative times have been when I was like in a tent. And I think that humanity will see that as like a mass thing.
Beautiful.
I imagine a time when there's a lot less people, like a significantly a lot less people, like 90% less people or something who are on this planet. And the way that, maybe even more, but the way that we live is much more in harmony with whatever the rhythms are of the planet at the time. And what we think of as religion right now as a way of connecting with our spirituality that connects us to the earth becomes kind of the dominant way. That becomes the way. There's a sacredness to what we do and how we're in balance with the constantly changing planet at the particular time. I think of all the plagues that we're going through, and then there's still all the wilderness that you got to go through to come out on the other end. So it's a long, long way down. We got to go through our Mad Max stage. But after the Mad Max stage, we come into this harmony and this rhythm that I think if we look back 100,000 years or so, people seem to have a rhythm with the natural world at the time. Maybe we'll find a new rhythm in the future with a lot less of us to make it a more sustainable way of living on this planet.
I really resonate with that. Yeah. Like I almost want you to keep painting the picture. What do you see Jewish life like there?
I think the songs stick around. I like River telling us about the songs and the instruments that are there, and I don't see I see the Jewish life being woven into its like universal manifestation where there's a common humanity and connection to all, but yet we celebrate everybody's coming from a different place. Maybe it's our old stories that remind us in bitter memory, but yet we hold on to these tales of the transition that we've gone through, and perhaps there's a pulse, there's a beat, there's a passion of pieces of Torah that we hold on to, that continue to sing to us in this new iteration. A whole new, again, Judaism always is constantly transforming, so it transforms again, and informs this harmony that we have with the planet in the future.
You know, I think, oh, I'm sorry, is somebody else waiting to go?
Oh, you.
I think some of the things, you know, with many of the indigenous peoples, it's like they didn't stay static with their traditions and their ceremonies. Like they really adapt throughout time. And if we needed to stop burning this field here because it really was depleted, we moved on to the next one and, you know, planted here. And when, you know, colonial settler folks started showing up, people figured out ways to, you know, interact or not interact or whatever it was. And I think, you know, many people who are earth-based, living close to the earth, learn to do those adaptations. I do want to say, and I can't quite see what your name is who just spoke. Could you say your name?
I'm Lauren.
Lauren. Okay, I couldn't tell if it said Lauren or Lauren.
Yeah.
I don't have any glasses on. Nice to meet you. I think a few more people will survive, just and let's talk in 60 years and see what happens. I think I keep wondering about the systems of economics that are going to go away, and doesn't that feel like a sigh of relief? Bartering is back.
I want to add one more piece there. There's like, what will Judaism look like? I love your question, Yaakov, and I'm thinking about that. I don't know, but there's this idea of responsibility. And I think that notion of responsibility that plays out through mitzvot right now will come into some new form that keeps us connected to each other and the planet right here. And I see that as like this string that kind of connects us from the mitzvot from Sinai that pulls us into the future, where that might be, and that keeps singing to us. I love River's idea of singing that's constantly going throughout.
I love that. I love this mitzvot as the bridge. I love singing. I love the sigh of relief of economic models no longer being like so dominant. I feel like everyone has shared, like these are such beautiful pieces of a vision collectively that I know I at least really personally feel like inspired by, and I want to be there and living in that way. So I suppose like my closing question for us is, so what is a step? What are the steps we can take now to walk towards that vision? Unless we're going to be, yeah, Matt.
I'm so confused. Why do you want to walk towards that vision? I mean, it described a world in which some holocaust of billions has taken place. What a refugee crisis looks like. It's not something we have to use our imaginations for. It's painful and it's tragic and it's full of unnecessary death. Don't we want to walk towards a future in which we unharden our hearts before the final plague and the Gezerah is set down? Aren't we at all moved by look at what this crisis has looked like. It's it never affects everyone the same equally.
I totally hear you and talk about the Gezerah, the decree being set down, and are we still in this before time? And like where I am with it is just to share what Roy shared of like the Gezerah has been set. But
the Gezerah of 3 to 4 degrees of warming has been set, but the Gezerah of 5 to 8 degrees of warming has not been set. And the Gezerah of like 70 billion dead humans has certainly not been set. Roy is correct that if we stopped all emissions today, that major flooding is still going to happen and major displacement. But it's still possible to mitigate some of the worst.
I'm gonna you represent so many people in what you're saying, and I'm gonna like hold that, if you don't hold that all here. And there's a part of me that is still like, I'm like still like part of me that's living in the vision of like a peoplehood that is like so rebound up with the land and is living sustainably and with music and with bartering being back. And I don't know quite how to fit in what you're saying in this conversation for like, does that mean that, is that like a place that we get through to get there? Or, but even putting that aside, like I'm living right now in the enthusiasm or inspiration of that dream. And I know we have like 4 hours a week of Havruta study. So I'm going to like, I know we're going to like dive into this a lot, But to wrap up this space, I'm going to leave it with this floating vision. Love it, feel distanced from it, however, whatever your orientation is with it, but leaving that floating. And if there is a step that you feel like can be made now towards that vision, if it's one that you want to pursue, what would that step be?
Well, so for all of the slightly conflicting visions, I'm going to hold out the word miracle. Sometimes they do happen even in modern times, even for us. And I'm not always the biggest believer in science, certainly not corporate science. And I think that I'm not saying that I don't believe in the science of climate change. What I'm saying is sometimes there's extraordinary things that can happen. So I think that's maybe how we can make the bridge. But, in terms of what I want to do, it's very practical. It's about like growing food and getting more people to grow food and stop using pesticides and protect pollinators and protect rivers and things like that. So it's just very grounded that way. And for myself personally, I do need to cultivate more forgiveness and love and kindness. I am a Libra and I can get pretty damn judgmental about folks not wearing masks and, doing stupid shit like people in my town asking where's the best place to get a manicure now. Like this is what they're thinking about. And I kind of let a few people have it and I'm still, I'm fine with that. And Yaakov, I think maybe one way we can bridge it is the little idea I had for the prayer that will maybe.
You know what? That's great.
At the end.
Yes, and we're getting there. So yeah, Ellen suggested closing with a Misha Berach with a prayer for healing. So before turning to that to close us out, are there any other? I see Laura wrote more planting trees and gardens, encouraging Earth Day, Tu B'Shvat, teaching the next generation to conserve resources. Yes. Anything else you want to throw into the mix? I want to learn how to play an instrument. Okay.
Do you guys have anything more? Because I think you probably have some really great creative, concrete ideas in your heads right now. I'm curious.
I'll say something I feel is like, Ellen, you brought up the vertical and like getting away from this vertical idea of power. I feel like building in, like in relationships and in organizations, building in rotational power, building in systems of organization on a human level that allow for the kind of adaptability and just distribution of labor that we can hold such a big project together without like recreating the oppressive hierarchies that we're trying to dream our way out of.
Nice. Can I ask, are you all at Hebrew College? Okay, do y'all know that I live like 10 minutes away from you? I'm in Needham.
Where are you?
I'm on the other side of the Kenobican. And so like, here's where we start this effort on, which I've been dreaming about for a few years now, about, I call it the Kenobican Promise. We can come up with another name. It's the Charles, about being better to this little, watershed ecosystem right here. So I think we all need to connect because we are. I mean, are you all actually at Hebrew College now, or?
No, we have classes virtual for the beginning of the semester. But when this is all starts to lift, we can all connect.
We can take the river.
We can take the river together.
I mean, like really close. Where are you all now?
I think we're in different places around the area. You know what I will do, Ellen, too, is I'm gonna just post, this is for everyone too. I'm gonna post my email in the chat, and so we can totally stay in touch. But for now,
like, really close. I mean, like we could each
totally.
other.
I think eco cash root and a +1 for eco cash root for something we can do.
Hold on a minute. I'm trying to read your.
So, Ellen, I know I heard you say, hold on. So we were also going to close with a Mishaberach. So I'll give Ellen a moment to tune back in if she still wants to lead that.
Yeah, I just I'm trying to read your. I can't see very well, so can I put mine in instead? Is that okay?
Sure, yes.
My eyesight is a bit blurry.
Hey, Yaakov, is your email address, does it end in just .du or is it edu?
Oh, thank you. .edu.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
I
thought so.
figured that.
.do. .mountain dew.
So are you all like the future generations of rabbis and chazan?
The three of us are all in rabbinical school, and I am gonna, Ellen, just turn it back to you for Mishaberach.
Okay, so this is kind of a personal request. My friends Tom and Sandra are in the Framingham Union right now with COVID. She's having a lot of difficulty breathing, and as we were doing that lovely breathing, I just want to send out breathing possibility to them. And as I learned, as First Nations elders and Indigenous people ask us to pray, and maybe Jewish folk too, not just to them, but to all people who are having difficulty breathing as a result of COVID right now. Because I'll just say my friends run this fabulous teenage band program. They help so many children in Newton and Needham, and they're such a mainstay in the community. So for Sandra and Tom and the other, you folks have other people to say Mishaberach for?
The father of one of our classmates is sick with COVID right now, Mordechai Ben Laura.
And it's, I don't know Sandra's Hebrew name, but Sandra, but Greta and John and I knew his parents, but I can't remember their name. Anybody else?
We have a friend of the family named Dante who, not COVID related, but is in a coma and was in a serious accident, and he's just been moved to a longer term facility, but he's still in the coma right now. So we're definitely sending our prayers to him out in California.
My niece, Stormy, she's having a really, really hard time right now. She's 13.
Yeah, for all those kids. All right, this is, I can't remember all the words, so I'll literally, let me maybe do a syllable, and I really want you all to join, or let's all sing together, okay? I forgot the Zoom thing, but.
And I can I'll put on the Debbie Friedman version too. Take it away.
Oh, well, we're going to sing with Debbie Friedman. Nice.
Do you want to start it?
I'm a little shy.
Okay. Great. Well, I'll put it on and we can be present for it and then sign out as we want. This has been such a lovely time together. Thank you all so much for showing up and bringing yourselves and bringing your sorrows and your hopes and visions and your wrestlings and Matthew, your like clear-eyed integrity with your own, like I'm really grateful to you and to everyone.
Thank you, Yaakov.
To Ellen, to River, to Lauren, Ingrid and Laura, with just a prayer for healing for all those whose breath spiritually, physically is experiencing any constriction, with prayers for healing of body and spirit and easier, more fluid breath in the days ahead.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
That was lovely.
Be well, everyone.
Thank you. I really look forward to connecting with you all on the other side, in the middle of the river.
Ooh, see you in the middle of the river.
Thank you.
Lauren, you're an